Welcome to the Focus Puller Guru. My name is Godfrey Flukeball and we have an exciting episode for you today. Today is the episode where I was involved in a stunt that went wrong, and I guess I could have almost been killed because the stunt went very wrong and not as expected. So we'll start with what happened. We're shooting during the day on a street that's been blocked off. The cop cars on either side, like PDOs, which are paid duty officers. So they've got the street locked up. So there's no live traffic. There's no pedestrians walking. It's all controlled by the movie set. And so what they've explained, and they've showed us on like little toy cars, and they kind of have like a blocking with toy cars showing what's going to happen. What's going to happen is we have an Audi, who's like the main picture car, and it's being chased by police. So it's coming first, a black Audi, and behind the black Audi is a police car. And what they've done is they've actually set up a bit of a ramp, which is kind of out of shot, but what'll happen is the police car will hit this ramp, flip upside down on its roof, and slide and come to a stop, hopefully in the middle of this intersection. And that's kind of the plan for the big stunt. So they've put me on a camera with a long lens, like a 200mm lens, and they've put me on tripod legs, and what they've done is they've pulled a car in front of our camera to kind of be a protection. If anything goes wrong, the car will provide kind of a shielding for this cop car that's going to be sliding towards us. So camera operator's behind the camera, and I'm set up pulling focus. And what I've done with my second assistant over the walkie is I have lined up my focus marks. So I had the second assistant go out with the chart, and I've gotten probably about 10 different points of focus based on numbers. So the farthest distance I've got as number 1, and then a little bit closer, 2, 3, 4, all the way up till 10. So my second assistant calling numbers on the walkie as the stunt happens and as the car is barreling towards us. So they call action on the stunt, and I have the footage. So we're just going to be playing the footage here. So the Audi starts off first, starts barreling towards us. My second's calling numbers. The cop car's on the side. The cop car hits the ramp, turns on its roof, and keeps sliding and sliding. And all of a sudden the footage stops because what has happened is the cop car has slid through the intersection, smashed into the car that was put in front of the camera that we're on. And what they had lined up ahead of time is they talked to the grips department, and one of the grips put a harness on both the operator and myself, and he stood right behind, two grips were standing right behind us, holding on to our back on the harness that we were wearing. And so they knew that if the stunt went wrong and the cop car kept sliding, they would literally yank us and pull us out of harm's way, and then we would run to the safety zone which they had designated by this building. So as this stunt happened and the cop car flipped on its roof and started sliding right towards us, the grip just pulled and yanked on us, both the operator and myself, to get us out of the way. And for me, it was so bizarre because I'm pulling focus and my second assistant is going like 1 and 2 and all of a sudden the second assistant stopped calling numbers, and I didn't know what was happening, but the second assistant had to also run out of the way because the stunt had clearly gotten wrong. But by that point, I had been pulled by the grips, and the car slid through the intersection, smashed into the safety car, knocked over the whole camera, the whole tripod legs on the ground, and we were able to kind of run to safety. Now, I have the footage that continuity across the street was filming as well. And so, basically, let me get that footage. Okay. So here's the footage. Continuity filmed to the whole scene. So there's the police car going up on the side. It slides on its roof. It smashes into the black car. The camera falls over, and you can see I was wearing jeans. They pulled me around the corner and to safety while everything still happened. And you can see the cop lights are still going on, and there's a lot of the destruction of the crash of the cop car into the other car. So that was quite a stunt. The stunt had gone wrong, but luckily everybody was fine. Nobody got hurt. But we definitely didn't expect that cop car to slide all the way through the intersection and smash into us. So that gives you an idea of sometimes on set where you plan, you've got everything lined up, and then one factor goes wrong with these stunts, and so that's what happens. But like I said, fortunately nobody got hurt, and we got the whole stunt. So that's an example of when a stunt goes wrong, but luckily everyone was okay in regard to that stunt. However, I did work on a movie a few years earlier in which it was a different kind of stunt. So we had multiple cameras lined up on this, and the stunt was a van that was flipped upside down on its roof, and it was cabled, to go around this pole, and it was kind of like a few 100 feet of cable to a truck that would pull this van through the sequence. And the sequence had the stuntman, the idea was the stuntman would roll out of the back of the van. And so they decided, let's shoot the rehearsal. And we started rolling the cameras, and they said action, and the stunt vehicle, like the truck, started pulling, and it started pulling the van. And the stuntman, instead of rolling out, he stepped out. And because he stepped out, he flipped upside down and landed really badly. And it went really bad, and they had to call in the ambulance. And the stuntman ended up dying from that stunt. But I've been on other sets where they've used different apparatuses, like a big air cannon, and they had this air cannon which would like blow debris into the shot, and it's like this big metal kind of tube that sucks the air in and then just blows it out. And we had a situation where they were giving us all like protection, like eye protection, ear protection, like headphone cans just for the sound and everything like that. And so we're like bringing the camera in, and fortunately I'd put the headphones on. We were kind of wearing our headphones, and we weren't even rolling the camera yet, and the big huge air blaster accidentally went off, and it went off probably about like 3-4 feet away from us. And so we're like starting to get ready, and just out of the blue, boom, this huge wave happens, and sound. It was so loud, and we were all shocked. It accidentally went off, but we were all wearing our headphones, and so we were just like, thank goodness, because that could have seriously hurt our eardrums, everything like that. But that was another situation that sometimes these kind of things go wrong, but we're okay with that one. So yeah, in regard to other kind of things that sometimes happen on set, so I was on a show where they used a lot of gunfire. So a lot of automatic gunfire, and a lot of different background and actors were firing the gunfire. So we had a lot of guns going off. And so what they usually do is their loads, they call them either quarter loads or half loads or full loads. And what happens is, depending on the shot, also they like to have the cartridges eject out of the gun, especially if you see it on camera. They want to have like the actual gun cartridges popping out of the gun as the gun is firing. And so we had a situation where the camera was like filming, we had sound blankets on, our ear protection, eye protection, so we weren't going to get hit by these flying cartridges. And the camera trainee was the one who was actually slating. So the camera trainee slated the camera and walked about, almost 20 feet away to be out of the shot and to be almost around the corner, but not quite. And then they called action, and the guy's like firing the gun, and like we're right there, and I'm feeling like the cartridges hitting the blanket, like I can feel it while I'm pulling focus, like the cartridges are banging off the blanket. And then they call cut. And so, okay, great, cut, everyone okay, whatever. And our camera trainee who had slated was like I said, like 20 feet away. Somehow a cartridge had flown all the way there and hit him in the neck. And so after the take, he was just like, he had like a little spot that on his neck, and like cartridges are so hot, right? Because they were like firing the gunpowder. And so he literally was just like, yeah, he burned his neck from a flying cartridge from one of these automatic guns. There's other accidents that can happen on set, and nowadays we put the camera on what's called a remote head when we have it on a crane. But there was a time before remote heads where it was called a riding crane, and both the camera operator and the focus puller would have two seats on top of this platform, which was secured to a crane, a camera crane, which was like sometimes 20 feet, sometimes 30 feet long, and it would raise the two of us, me and the operator, way up in the air with the camera to film all the high shots and swooping down shots and everything like that. There was a situation that I witnessed because the thing is, they also have seat belts on this riding crane. The situation I witnessed where the crane was at the bottom, and I was witnessing this because I was not the one on the crane. A different focus puller was on the crane, and he was distracted by something. And he said, "Oh, let me get that." And he went to step off the crane. And as you can understand, the crane is weighted at the back with the same amount of weight as the two people that are on the front. And as he went to step off, the crane started to lift. And luckily, a grip saw the whole thing and jumped on the arm of the crane. Because if he hadn't have done that, the crane will act like a catapult, and the camera operator would have been thrown completely off the crane. Who knows if he had his seatbelt on or not, but still, it would have been a disaster. And so luckily, when the focus puller went to step off, the grip jumped on the arm and saved the whole situation from going really bad. So that's another situation that accident was remarkably saved. But these days, like I said, we're not doing riding cranes. Everything is like remote head with the camera, and luckily no one has to like sit on the front of cranes anymore because of the safety hazard. Just in case you heard any barking on in the background of this video, here are my two little dogs. So over here, this is Wolfie, the Chihuahua, and here's the pug. His name is Mr. Gunky, and yeah, both of them express themselves with a little bit of barking here and there, don't you? So in summary, there has been, of course, over the years, a lot of different things that have kind of gone wrong or almost gone wrong. But the bottom line is, like every day on set, they always have a safety meeting to start off the day. They always talk about where the exits are and where to, the muster point where everyone should go if there is any kind of accident. And safety is taken very, very seriously. And I can tell over the years, it just keeps getting safer and safer. But, here's a couple kind of like war stories from my past, which is always fun to talk about. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.